Protecting America's Gulf Coast, the Gulf of Mexico Regional Ecosystem Restoration Strategy. The Gulf of Mexico is one of the world's most important marine ecosystems. Located at the southeastern corner of North America, the Gulf region spans about 600,000 square miles. It is bordered by the United States to the north, Mexico to the west, and Cuba to the southeast. The Gulf Coast stretches more than 1,600 square miles across 5 U.S. states: Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. It follows an arc running all the way from Key West, Florida to Brownsville, Texas. The Gulf is endowed with a rich variety of coastal and marine habitats, including wetlands, barrier islands, beaches, mangroves, and coral reefs. Some of these habitats are found nowhere else in the nation or the world. For example, Florida is the only state in the continental United States with extensive coral reefs near its coasts. These reefs are among the world's richest ecosystems, second only to tropical rainforests in plant and animal diversity. In addition, Mississippi's coastal plain ranks in the top 10 states for its varied native animal populations, while the Texas coast spans 12 distinct ecoregions. The Gulf Coast is also a vital migratory bird flyway. Each year, millions of birds make the 600-mile flight across the Gulf from the Yucatan Peninsula. The first landfall for many of these birds is Dauphin Island, Alabama. In Louisiana, the peak spring migration season can bring nearly 25 million birds to the state's coast each day. Gulf habitats also provide nesting grounds for sea turtles. A prime nesting ground for the severely endangered Kemp's Ridley turtle is on Padre Island, Texas, which is the longest undeveloped barrier island in the world. Beyond the shoreline, the Gulf region is laced with scenic streams and estuaries. The largest river system in North America, the mighty Mississippi, flows into the Gulf of Mexico through Louisiana's delta. And Alabama's Mobile Bay watershed is the 6th largest river basin in the U.S.
While bountiful natural resources and a shared ecosystem connect the Gulf states together, each state is also distinct. The personality and culture of each state draws millions of visitors to the region each year. To the white sandy beaches of Florida and Alabama, to the world-class entertainment destinations in Mississippi, to the bustling ports and quaint fishing villages along the Texas coast, and to the historic neighborhoods and jazz clubs of New Orleans, a city like no other. In fact, tourism supports more than 800,000 jobs across the region, providing a significant economic input to Gulf communities. Each Gulf state also supports a strong fishing industry. Some of the busiest ports in the nation are found here, and the region produces a third of the nation's seafood. The area is also the heart of the U.S. petrochemical industry. The region provides more than 90% of the nation's offshore oil and natural gas production. Important military bases, space centers, and research facilities are also found here. The Gulf region is vital to the U.S. economy and the world. If considered an individual country, the 5 Gulf Coast states would rank 7th in global gross domestic product. It is this amazing diversity and productivity that really defines the Gulf region. For those who know and love the Gulf, the area is more than the oil and gas it produces. It is more than the fish, shrimp, and oysters it yields. It is a living, breathing entity to which our country's future is inevitably linked. An interdependence exists between the environment and the economy in the region. A thriving economy depends in large measure on a healthy environment and the wise stewardship of the natural resources. There are many stresses on the area, including pollution, land development, alterations in freshwater flows and sediments, overfishing, and tropical storms. The Deepwater Horizon oil spill is the most recent in a long line of challenges that have led to the degradation of the Gulf's vital natural resources. These stresses have led to the loss of wetlands and habitats, erosion of shorelines and barrier islands, and nutrient enrichment, which has degraded water quality and created a large dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico. Climate change brings additional stresses and could complicate efforts to protect the area's natural resources.
Recognizing the importance of the Gulf of Mexico ecosystem, President Barack Obama established the Gulf Coast Ecosystem Restoration Task Force in October of 2010. The task force represents an unprecedented coming together of state and federal agencies to develop a shared vision for a healthy and resilient Gulf of Mexico ecosystem. The task force includes members from each of the 5 Gulf Coast states and 11 federal agencies. The task force developed the Gulf of Mexico Regional Ecosystem Restoration Strategy to guide the long-term conservation and restoration of the Gulf Coast. Developed in collaboration with many public and private partners, the strategy builds on ongoing work and the priorities of the 5 Gulf states. In developing the strategy, the task force traveled to each Gulf state, holding more than 40 public meetings to gather valuable ideas and opinions from local communities and the individuals who are most connected to the Gulf. The end result of this work is a plan for the people of the Gulf from the people of the Gulf. The strategy lays out 4 overarching goals to guide Gulf Coast restoration efforts. These are to 1. Restore and conserve habitat. 2. Restore water quality. 3. Replenish and protect living coastal and marine resources. And 4. Enhance community resilience. The strategy defines specific and far-reaching actions that agencies can take to support each goal, such as restoring sediment flows, stemming habitat loss, controlling invasive species, and addressing nutrient enrichment. It also describes ways that state and federal agencies can work together to better align agency programs, build on existing partnerships, and leverage resources. A key focus is ensuring that ecosystem restoration efforts have a robust scientific foundation and are making full use of monitoring, modeling, research, and decision support tools. The strategy also recognizes the need to increase public awareness of the interconnected nature of the Gulf Coast ecosystem and appreciation for the natural systems upon which people depend. This knowledge is essential for ensuring sustainable Gulf communities. Now complete, the strategy marks a significant step forward in restoration and protection efforts. The task force, through its member agencies, will begin to implement the goals of the strategy with sound science and the input and support of the people of the Gulf. During this implementation phase, the task force will continue its unprecedented partnership among the Gulf states, its citizens, and the federal government. The need is urgent, and there is much at stake. The actions we take today can and will determine the fate of one of the world's great treasures. A path is now in place to put America's Gulf Coast on the road to recovery and ensure a healthy environment and economic future for future generations.